What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm back today to give you a review of the Air Jordan 12 Retro in this flu game or Bred colorway. This sees the return of one of the most iconic Air Jordans of all time, which was worn famously by Michael Jordan back in the 1997 NBA Finals, where in Game 5 he dropped 38 points in a win while suffering from a stomach flu. So originally this was called the Bred Air Jordan 12s, but over time, at least from what I've seen, they've become much more commonly known as the flu game 12s. So this is the 5th time that this shoe has released to the public, originally in 1997, and then there's been 4 retros since then, with this one being the latest. So these actually released a few weeks back and they dropped for $210 US or $270 here in Canada. I got my pair over at The Closet Inc., which is my favorite shop for Air Jordans and Nike releases. They're an independently owned and operated sneaker boutique, and they're based right here in Southern Ontario in Canada. So for all my Canadian viewers out there, I'll link their socials, their website, all that good stuff down below. So check them out and support your local shops. So the official colorway for this shoe is black and varsity red. And these, to my surprise, were actually a little bit difficult to obtain, and it continues Jordan Brand's effort to seemingly want to make limited releases, especially when you compare it to 2024, where it seemed like every release was pretty easy to get. Maybe it's because of limited supply, or maybe it's just because this is a really well-loved OG colorway of the Jordan 12, and it's been 9 years since we saw the last retro back in 2016. So first things first, here's a quick look at the packaging. And this comes in an OG inspired box where we have this natural colored finish on the top with a black swoosh in the middle. And then the sides of the lid are done in this reddish tone. And then the bottom half is done in black, as you can see here. And it stays faithful to the original packaging from 96-97. In fact, the Jordan 12 is actually the very first Air Jordan that I ever received. So I got a pair of the OG playoff 12s when I was just a kid. I rocked those during an elementary school basketball tournament, and the rest is history. So diving into the details of this shoe itself, starting things off with the upper, you'll see how the majority of the upper is crafted out of a tumbled black colored leather. So this is a genuine leather and it feels pretty decent to the touch, nothing amazing, but it's pretty solid all things considered. Overlaid on the lateral side, we have a large red leather panel which runs down the bottom of the shoe. It's given a reptile-like texture to it, but a lot of people call this a basketball texture. And on the bottom of the midfoot, we have a red TPU layer with Jumpman branding found only on the lateral side. This is also found on the medial side. It's a little bit smaller on this end. And then above this, for the second from the top and third from the top eyelet, this feels like a black TPU or plastic, and it's given a matte finish to it along with a tiny Jumpman logo in the middle. Beneath this we have more of that tumbled black leather, and just like any other Air Jordan 12, we have this radial style stitching which covers the black leather all around. On the heel, we have this large nylon pull tab with Jordan branding both on the top and the bottom, and this helps to get your foot into and out of the shoe a little bit easier. And then beneath this you can see how the outsole wraps up and onto the midsole, and it features the number 23 here as well. For the laces, this pair only comes with one lace option, and they're a thin rope style lace in black. Beneath this, the tongue is covered in that same tumbled black leather, and like any other Air Jordan 12, we have the words 2-3. This is embroidered running down the center of the tongue, along with a red Jumpman at the very top. The back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is covered in a black colored liner, and then for the insoles, these come with a polyurethane foam insole, and we have a Jumpman logo pressed onto the heel. So the upper of these Jordan 12s, it sits atop a full-length Phylon foam midsole, but encased within this Phylon foam, we have a full-length Zoom Air unit, which marks the first Air Jordan signature model that utilized Zoom Air. Turning the shoe over to the bottom, so the outsole here is crafted out of a mix of red and black colored rubber. We have a Jumpman logo on the very top of the toe, along with the number 23, and we have these black rubber pods, one on the forefoot and one on the heel. This has a herringbone style traction pattern to it, and in the middle you can see the carbon fiber shank plate exposed. This helps with torsional rigidity and midfoot support. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, so these fit like any other recent Air Jordan 12. So I feel like for most people, true to size should be okay. However, they do run a little bit roomy. So if you're someone that likes a really snug one-to-one fit, and assuming you don't have a really wide foot, you may want to consider going half size down. But if you don't like a snug fit, or you just have a wider foot, just go true to size to be safe, and you should be okay. For me, I personally went down to a 9.5. It gives me a really exact one-to-one fit. I just find that when I go true to size in Jordan 12s, I just have a little bit too much room in the shoe. So it's completely personal preference on how you like your shoes to fit. Moving on to the comfort, so these feel like any other Jordan 12. So that means it's pretty heavy, pretty unbreathable, but there is quite a bit of responsiveness underfoot with that full-length Zoom Air. So initially when I wear these, they feel very clunky, but in my experience with past Jordan 12s, the more you wear them, the more you break in this upper and the more you kind of soften up that cushioning underfoot. It just feels a lot more comfortable and more custom to your foot over time. I feel like a lot of 90s basketball sneakers suffered from that same issue, but if you're willing to dedicate time and wears on this shoe, I think it really breaks in well. And with that full-length Zoom Air, it's gonna give you that nice bouncy and responsive feel. Finally, in terms of the quality and craftsmanship, so first off, I thought the material quality was really solid. It wasn't anything amazing, it wasn't anything super premium. They do utilize genuine leathers, which is great, but I thought the build of my specific pair was a little bit lacking. There was quite a few glue stains around where the midsole meets the upper, but luckily the panels were pretty consistently sized and placed. So to me, it really just came down to the glue stains. That was a little bit disappointing, but other than that, I really had no other major complaints about this shoe. So with all of that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. The Air Jordan 12 isn't going to be a sneaker for everyone, but especially for people that grew up in the 90s and seeing that iconic Game 5 when MJ was near dead and still put up an incredible historic performance, it makes sense why this shoe is so beloved. For me, this is more or less a nostalgia buy. I don't think the Jordan 12 necessarily is a shoe that I'd wear that often anymore, but it's just one of those iconic sneakers that I want to have in my collection. Keep in mind though, in the winter, Jordan 12s are a great option to rock. They're like tanks. So anyways, leave your thoughts down below. Let me know, what do you guys think about these Flu Game or Bred 12s? Did you pick these up as well? Did you pass on them? What are your thoughts overall? Leave them down below. And as usual, if you guys enjoyed this review, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on my social media accounts. I'll link all of that down below. And as always, I appreciate your continued love and support. So thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you all in my next video.